So good evening once again. Tonight we're remembering 4 Ukrainian martyrs who suffered and died for their faith. And they were among a multitude of others at that time who also suffered, and many were put to death. Over the last number of months, of course, we've been well aware that the country of Ukraine was invaded by its neighbor, Russia, and has been undergoing a terrible occupation, a war of attrition in which many people have been killed and even more people have been scattered far and wide as they have been seeking safety wherever they can find it. As bad as it is, this is not the first time that Ukraine has gone through such persecution. During the Second World War, that country also faced a terrible religious oppression under the Soviet communist government. Many members of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church were questioned, detained, imprisoned, tortured, and many were ultimately put to death. Of these, of which there were thousands, in 2001, Pope St. John Paul beatified 25 of them. And of those 25, 4 were Redemptorists. So among these 4, and among the 25 that were beatified, and among the thousands who were questioned, tortured, imprisoned, what did these people all have in common? Certainly for these 4, it was their Redemptorist vocation. For the rest, a love of God, a desire to do God's will, no matter the cost. But perhaps what truly bonded them all, what really was their commonality, was their humanity. That they were all ordinary men and women simply trying to do God's work, trying to share the good news with those around them. Brothers and sisters, the cost of discipleship is high. I think of our Mother Mary. When the angel first came and asked if she would participate in the great mystery of salvation, allowing herself to be a vessel used by God to bring God's Son into the world. Did Mary think about these difficult things that lay ahead of her? She was overwhelmed at first, thinking of her present moment. Could she see herself down the road, raising her son, a single mother, seeing her son go off preaching, being in the midst of the public eye, taking on the powers that be who sought to have him killed, imprisoned, tortured? When we look at our life, if we're truly honest, we understand that life is not all about comfort and joy. In fact, for many people in the world, life is very seldom about comfort and joy. So acknowledging that life is difficult, it's amazing how often we pretend that it's not. We act surprised when something difficult happens. When things are going good, we say, "Thank God, isn't God good? Isn't God great? All of these wonderful things are happening to me." But then when something hard comes up, when we feel the suffering of this world, we cry out, "Where is God? Why is God not with me? What have I done, Lord, that you would abandon me?" It's interesting that those very words even came out of the mouth of Jesus as he died on the cross. Not because he was in despair, but perhaps we needed to hear our own voice coming back to us from that cross. The truth of the matter is that many who heard Jesus did not stay with him. What they did not know when they made that choice is that when you turn your back to the invitation of the cross, when you decide to avoid that suffering that the cross offers, in fact, it leaves us defenseless. It is only when we allow God to call us to vulnerability that we discover that God is the only armor that we will ever need against the snares and perils of this life. The Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, under persecution from the communists, grew and it thrived and it was vibrant. God gave them everything that they needed, not just to endure, but to thrive. And this is what God wants for you. We talk about these hard things not because we want to be morbid or we think that somehow suffering is our lot, but we acknowledge the reality of our life. And it's important to know and to be forewarned, forearmed, that when we do suffer, we need not fear. We know that we are okay in the arms of God, under the gaze of our Mother of Perpetual Help. We will be okay. We will not just endure, we will thrive, and we will experience the true joy of discipleship.